Hey friends, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. That was this BLV5 2S Acro B 75 railing around on a 300 mAh battery. The runtime ended up being like 4 minutes. The efficiency from 2S is wild. This guy, so I've done a bunch of flying with this guy, and this frame on here, so this is the Cockroach 75 frame, but this is a newer version of it in a softer plastic, which I really want on one of the tiny lifters, the black tiny lifter. I would really like to use this frame on. I've also got a bunch of toothpicks, like toothpick builds that I've been wanting to do, that have been sitting next to the desk in bags, as you can see sort of here. This is the NubiDrone Acro B V3, I'm sorry, V4 that I put on 2S that caught on fire on stream. This is a fully custom built one that we're going to do with these RC and Power 1003s, and an old school toothpick frame. And then I've also got this little 1.6 inch fella that I think I'm going to sort of leave alone, because this is on another NubiDrone V4 AIO, so I can't run this on 2S. And so now that we've got an Acro B AIO that does run on 2S reliably, I figure it's a perfect time to get this guy back up and running with a proper 2S AIO on these 1102 really high kV motors, but we'll motor limit them down, so that this AIO has like a new home. I've flown this a bunch. I don't necessarily think that I'm going to fly this all that much more. I am going to be doing a 2S analog rig, but it's not going to be on this build. It's not going to be on this frame. And so, yeah, wanting to give a home to these parts. I don't know what I'm going to do with these motors. These 804... Are they 19,000 kV? 14,000 kV. I don't know what. Yeah, I'm not sure what to do with these with 1mm motor shafts. But yeah, this AIO, this frame shall live on, and perfect opportunity to kind of dive back into Toothpicks. The leaves are changing outside. It looks very cool out there. I want to fly outside as much as I can before the disgusting winter sets in. So hey, now's the time, yo. So that's sort of the plan for today. This is also a Q&A live stream, as they all are. Ask any questions that you've got in the chat, and we'll talk about them. And we're going to fly 6 batteries. I've got a bunch of 1S batteries charged up, ready to go. We will whop them around the room and see what's what. Sound good, friends? So one of the things that we're going to do is kind of like talk about just kind of like dive into like speccing out a toothpick, like what, you know, for a little tiny frame like this that can only swing 1.6-inch propellers, what's the best direction to go in terms of like motors and propellers and KV and all that stuff, versus you move up to like a 2.5-inch frame and you get access to significantly bigger, more efficient propellers, versus you go all the way up to a 3-inch frame, and sort of like where do you go each step of the way. Also with cell voltage, like if you're so on this guy, we're gonna limit ourselves to 1S because that's the AIO that I have here. How do we get around that? How do we get around the fact that this is gonna use big ass 3-inch draggy propellers, but it's only going to be on 1S. And so, yeah, we're going to sort of talk about that a little bit, and I'll give you a little bit of my opinions on motor selection and KV and all that good stuff. And like, you know, how many, like what MAH, basically on this 1S rig, we're going to have to go up in MAH on the battery. Luckily, I've got these 1003 motors that should make enough power to offset that. The 1003 motor size, 3, 6, 9, almost 10. So that's like 3.3 to 1 width to height ratio. These motors should stay nice and cool because of that width to height ratio. And so we should be able to run a bigger 1S battery on here, 550, 650. Who knows, really. We'll kind of dive into that in testing, but we'll kind of like theory craft it on the front end here and figure it out. The other option is to run a 2.5-inch prop on the 3-inch frame. It's not the best option because you've got a little bit of extra weight in carbon fiber making the arms longer. Also, the arms are being longer. They're gonna in crashes, there's gonna be more mechanical torque there, so it's gonna make it weaker. But if we have to do it, we can. And so that'll be super interesting. I'm actually really looking forward to comparing these 1003s on a 3-inch biblade to a 2.5-inch biblade. That won't really happen tonight. But yeah, we'll get the builds done. We'll talk all about them. I'll give you my theories and like what I think they're all going to fly like, and then I'll fly them. We'll come back to it. Newbie drone. Hummingbird version 3.1. Nanimo module. Those two things are not compatible with one another. I've had this Nanimo module for a long time. For a little bit, this was like the best of the ELRS modules. I have bound this to lots of different stuff, and it's been completely fine. I've never found something that this won't bind to. But what I think from a recent experience is that the crystal oscillator in here is either a little bit, if this is like perfectly 2.4, it's either a little bit too high or it's a little bit too low. Just a tiny little bit. Newbie drone. Hummingbird version 3.1. Apparently, this is the only module that's having binding issues with. And so what I think is that the Hummingbird 3.1 is either a little bit high or a little bit low in the opposite direction of this Nanimo module. No real confirmation of that, but like everything seems to sort of be pointing that direction. So that's pretty specific. I mean, like at this point, I guess I'm supposed to say like, so if you have the Nanimo module, don't buy the Hummingbird version 3.1. What are the odds? For sure, if you have the Nanimo module, don't buy the Hummingbird V3.1 yet until they figure it out. They now know about it, and that's awesome. Whether or not they can do something about it is another story entirely, but they do now know about it. So we'll see. But at the moment, yeah, Nanimo incompatible with Hummingbird V3.1. Crazy. Took hours and hours and hours. Massive shout out to EEDoc for helping me with that. I basically kind of figured that out during the last few live streams, and then EEDoc just happened to have another. He had a Radio Master module, and he has the Nanimo module, and he has. He just bought one of the Hummingbird V3.1s, and yeah, he doubled up on the testing that I was doing during the end of the last live stream, and he said, "Yep, absolutely, the Nanimo module will not connect, but the Radio Master module absolutely will." And in my talking to Newbie Drone, they had sent a whole bunch of the Hummingbird V3.1s out, and nobody had binding problems on them. Which means to me that nobody else that they sent one to has a Nanimo module, but yeah, B, potentially this module is the only one that's having problems, which is crazy. But that happens. Like in the car world, the equivalent is like you have a Ford Mustang, and then you buy a K-member from Maximum Motorsports, but then you buy A-arms from Griggs Motorsports. Well, Maximum Motorsports tightened up some tolerances on the stock Mustang in one direction. Griggs tightened up some tolerances in the opposite direction, and now the Maximum stuff doesn't work with the Griggs stuff. It was never meant to work with it. It was meant to work with the Mustang platform, right? But like you've got different manufacturers changing things to try to improve them, right? That's what the aftermarket does. It improves stuff. But yeah, too many cooks in the kitchen, whatever analogy you want to use. This is something that happens every so often. It's kind of amazing that it doesn't happen more often, but yeah. So there you go. Nanimo module incompatible at the moment with Hummingbird version 3.1. I am eagerly awaiting the Nomad stuff to come in stock for the dual band 2.4 and 900. When that happens, this Nanimo module will get replaced with that, and probably, I mean, technically speaking, maybe the same thing could happen, but I really doubt it. At that point, I will be able to bind to and fly these Hummingbird version 3.1. So, yeah, hurry up, Radio Master. Get that shit out there. It's all just pre-orders. What's going on, Chad? Crom was first, Thrash was next, Frank Nicholas, Spaceman Spiff, Feigning Goat, Douglas 6, Uriel, Bad Neuro, and Michael Kajas. Quadzimoto, Adam Weston, Cloudhopper, CMYKFPV, Smirk Station. That's an interesting name. Mr. Huggy, Dave S. Anonymous, Cheetonian. What's up, everybody? Thanks for hanging. Sorry I got this stream up very last second. More people will trickle in, I'm sure. My feet are cold. Yo, it's getting cold fast, man. What the hell's happening? I think tomorrow night it's gonna be 75 millimeter mayhem. I've got a whole bunch of 1S 75 millimeter rigs that I need to fly to compare motors on. The rig that Cloudhopper sent over with 36,000 802s is in there. I've been dying to fly it, but there's just been a whole bunch of other stuff that popped up first that I've been trying to kind of work through. So yeah, cool stuff coming. What the hell's that? Oh, those are the little stretchy boys. Never mind. Sock problems, bro. Hey, if you want to talk to me in the chat, all I gotta do is type CiottiFPV. If you do that, it'll light up an orange. My own name will light up an orange. Hey, if you have hold on. If you have a second, head over to CiottiFPV.com and support your boy, and I'll keep doing this. This is a totally crowdfunded thing. It kind of ebbs and flows. Right now, it's ebbing or flowing. Let's get it going for Christmas time. Give me an early Christmas present and subscribe to my Patreon, yo. It helps me the most. If you're on the $3 tier, there's only two Mondays from now. What is happening? 2 Mondays from now, there's a giveaway live stream. So it's a great time to jump from the $3 a month tier to the $5 if you want your chance to win Tiny Whoop and Toothpick stuff. $10 a month tier if you want a chance to win 3-inch micro brushless or Cinewhoop stuff. $20 a month for 5-inch parts. So shift your tier around if you want. You can also, if you want to enter to win Tiny Whoop stuff, but you're like, man, this guy's doing good work. He's saving me a lot of money by testing stuff. I want to support him for like $10 a month. You can stay on the Toothpick tier, but just change your monthly pledge amount to $10 or $8 or $9.46, whatever. So yeah, you can pick your tier and then boost the dollar amount up a little bit. That would mean a ton to me, and yeah, we can keep going, yo. Because it gets a little scary going into the winter season because the flying gigs are going to completely vaporize since nobody wants to be outside. So I do rely on these live streams a little bit more now that we're going into the sort of winter season. Etsy's got some really fun stuff that you can buy. Lots more stuff getting uploaded there this week. I've had a couple of weekends with gigs, thank God, and that like totally screws up that next week. And so I've been in that for the last couple of weekends, but yeah, things are going to chill out here this week, and I can hopefully get a bunch more stuff up onto the Etsy store. Full builds for you guys to buy. I'm hoping this is another thing that can kind of, yeah, sort of get me through a little bit. Fiverr, you can work one-on-one with me. Take advantage of over 8 years of knowledge. I'll walk you through how to fly better. We can fly in the simulator together. How to tune better, how to build better, how to buy parts that don't catch on fire. Usually for $60 or $80 for a half an hour or an hour session in Fiverr. I'm sorry, it's $40 or $60. $40 for half an hour, $60 for an hour. Typically, by paying that amount of money, I will tell you at least 1 or 2 components to stay away from, and then by not buying them, you will save $50, $60, $70, $80. So a lot of times the Fiverr sessions literally pay for themselves. But I mean, the main thing is like, what's your time worth, right? Like, how much time is it going to take you to dig through Reddit posts, Facebook posts, where more than 50% of the info is dead ass wrong to find the right answers to these questions? Is it worth spending a half an hour or an hour and paying a guy a couple of bucks to keep doing this full time so that he can give you the actual right answers to that stuff? I think it is, but you know, that's on you to kind of decide. But I would love to help you out with that. I would have killed for someone like me doing what I do when I was early on in the hobby, so that I hadn't, you know, so that I didn't lose so much time and just like chase my tail so much. With stuff that just is wrong. People that are desperate to help but don't know what they're talking about. Teespring has some really fun shirts and apparel. PayPal if you want to support me, but you don't want to do a super chat because you know that YouTube will take 30%. And then look at all these affiliate links. You guys have been doing amazing using the affiliate links. Thank you so much for that. It makes a big difference. Easiest way to do it is just to change your bookmarks to affiliate links. If you don't use bookmarks and when you want to go to Amazon, you just type AMA and your browser completes the rest, you can do that, type AMA, and then off on the right side of the suggestion, there's an option to remove it. Remove your current suggestions when you type AMA, and then come in here and click my Amazon affiliate link a couple times in a row, and now your browser will think that when you type AMA, you actually want to go to my affiliate link. You can do that with all of these, so that, yeah, when you want to go to Newbie Drone and you type NEW, it automatically goes to my affiliate link. It'll take you a couple of minutes, but then you won't have to worry about it. If you don't use my affiliate links, use somebody's. You know, we're out here trying to make good content, and having a couple extra dollars to test more stuff, to, you know, buy fancier gear so that we don't look so silly, is super, super, super helpful. I have affiliate links for Amazon, Get FPV, Pyro Drone, Race Day Quads, Newbie Drone, WeBleed, Beta FPV, FPV Cycle, Oh My God Brain, 3D, HD0, Flywheel, Max Bang, Good Camera Butter, and AliExpress. There you go, friends. Those are the ways that you can support me. I'll keep going as long as I can afford to do so, but I rely mainly on you beautiful people doing a couple of things here and there to kind of do that. So here's your reminder to do it. I appreciate it. Uriel says 3-inch 1S would be a wonder, but a challenge. Yeah, 3-inch is... The propellers are just sort of too heavy for the amount of chutzpah that 1S can kind of give us, which is why I have a funny feeling that we're going to be going down to 2.5-inch props on this, but it'll be an experiment. And it's one of the nice things about doing that is that if you wanted to like get more efficiency and do like a longer range kind of flight, you could put the 3-inch props onto here. You know, a 2.5-inch frame, you can't do that. You're locked into 2.5-inch props forever. So building a 1S toothpick on a 3-inch frame does give you the option of having like a long range toothpick, or a more freestyly kind of. Man, I'm dehydrated as shit, and this water bottle just hit the bottom. That sucks. We're going to fly a little bit tonight, a little bit different. We're not going to go hardcore freestyle flying. This is my little case of RC drift car chasing rigs. None of these are bound because I updated my module. So I'm going to bind these and fly them. Not the Walksnail one. Probably just the analog ones. And so our 6 batteries are going to be on cinematic rigs with no ducts in view at 0 up tilt. So I'm going to do something totally different and just cruise around instead of like hammering inverted, scraping the ceiling through gates at full throttle. I'm just going to try to link a whole bunch of gaps together and, yeah, fly around like a cinematic tiny whoop pilot. That ought to be frustrating. I mean, fun. Uriel says we should power it like Tesla would. I'm going to research. Crom says, I've started investigating motor solutions for 2.5-inch 2S, mostly around high KV low pitch versus low KV high pitch. I thought high KV would be more efficient, but experiment says maybe not. It depends. It depends on your cruising speed. High pitch, low KV tends to do better if you're going to cruise really fast, and vice versa. It also depends heavily on prop selection. Just like what propellers are available, full stop. So that beeping is a bunch of 2S batteries. Hold on. We get them unplugged. I'm coming back, I promise. Hold up. One more second. I'm coming. Just wait. Here I am. Coming back. All right. So I charged a bunch of these 2S batteries because we're going to take that Acro-B BLV5. And as much as I want to switch the motor plug over to BT 3.0, I'm not going to yet. I'm going to leave it alone. We're going to put it in Ooh. Wait. Never mind. We are going to swap it out. We are going to swap it out. Because that BLV5 is going in this 2.5-inch mosquito frame. And this 2.5-inch mosquito frame has the ability to mount two 1S 300 mAh batteries. See that in there? And so yeah, we are going to swap that over to this double BT 2.0 lead. I totally forgot about that. Okay, so this is what I mean about like speccing these things out. So these batteries need to get discharged. Yeah. Yeah, then there's that. Okay. Just give me 1 second. I'm just thinking through this super quick. I really like that setup. I really like that setup of having double 300 mAh BT 2.0 batteries, because they're the same batteries that we fly on our 1S Tiny Whoops. Yeah. So this is going to be 2S powered. Yeah, that's a 2S 3. Yep. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. So these need to get discharged. And then these are just going to end up back on the shelf. I need to know what to do with these, man. They're like BT 3.0 is so much lighter than XT30 with gangly ass balance leads. All right, well, I tried. You can't say I didn't try, you know? You cannot say that I didn't fart. All right, hold on. Hold on. Just real quick, guy. Let me show you one of my favorite things. One of my favorite little things. ViFly. ViFly makes like the most useful stuff ever. ViFly makes these little guys. They make them in XT30 and XT60. What are they called? Man, I can't read shit anymore, bro. Store Safe. ViFly Store Safe. STORESAFE. Get yourself a couple of these in XT30 and XT60. They just discharge your battery. They sense the voltage and they discharge it to the proper amount. There's a couple LEDs on here, and like they give you an instruction manual, and it basically tells you so that you can double check every different voltage. It comes up with a different color so that you don't over discharge it. Like the fear is you plug a battery that's already discharged into this, and so like you plug a 2S, you plug a 3S into this that's already been discharged. The voltage is so low that it thinks it's actually a 2S, and it discharges it down to 2S storage voltage, which for a 3S battery is going to hurt it, right? And so they, in the instruction manual, they say like, hey, just to be sure, the blue light means it knows it's a 2S. I've been using these things for over a year. I have plugged them into charged batteries, storage batteries, dead batteries, and it's always gotten it right. So I know what the color is for 6S. I know what the color is for 4S. I don't necessarily know what the color is for 2S, but like I said, I trust it. And so, yeah, these things are awesome. Like, if you're anything like me, sometimes you'll charge, like in this case, like you'll charge these batteries up and then you'll just be like, well, if I leave them charged, it'll encourage me to fly them on something tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and you get busy and you don't fly them and you're like, well, I'll fly them tomorrow. I'll fly them tomorrow. and like a week goes by, and having a battery sit charged for a week is not a great thing. And so with these little guys, you just keep them by your charger, and like if you have batteries that are charged, you just plug these damn things in. It brings them down to storage voltage. If you actually decide that you're going to fly them, you charge them back up really quick, and away you go. It's really, 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 like, to turn your charger on, to put it into storage charge mode, to plug shit into it, to tell it what amperage you want it to bring those batteries down to storage, it's too much work. You're not going to do it. These little things, you just plug them in. It's no work at all. And yeah, they have them in XT30 and XT60, and they're just awesome. And you just plug them in and let them sit here for 12 hours, and they very slowly discharge the batteries to like 3.84 per cell or so, and it's just awesome. Just really good to have. The money that you'll spend on these, it'll extend the lifespan of your batteries so much, because you'll be so much more willing to actually discharge them, that I'll bet you that they pay for themselves in pretty short order. So yeah, get you some, man. They're just super handy, super simple. Yeah, one of those things that, like, they're just too good not to have. Off access with $1.50 Canadian Californian. Thank you, brother. With a cool little rainbow emoji. Cheetonian says, order directly from Radio Master. I've had it in hand for weeks. I tried to the other night on the live stream, but it was pre-order. And I'm not doing the pre-order thing. You can all go. Everybody can go to hell. Badger FPV says, have you tried / looked at the Mobula 8 HD? I've seen it. Haven't tried it though. All the 03 stuff is so expensive that yeah, it's impossible for me to be able to afford any of that stuff. I don't even have the goggles. So yeah, but 04 is on the horizon. I've been ultra patient. I've been absolutely as patient as I possibly can, because when the Avata 2 came out and the 04 system was on there, I was like, that's when I was like really looking at going up to the 03 system for the cycle chasing build, so that I can offer them, better quality into the TV truck. But yeah, when the Avata 2 came out, I said, hold the phone. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't go in on 03. And then 04 is going to come out in a couple months. It's been way more than a couple months, but it is absolutely coming out at some point here. And it's big. The camera is big. And frames are going to... The other thing is that it's looking like frames are going to have to be redesigned for it. So, yeah, super glad that I waited. I will be going in on 04, mainly because one of the things that held me back from 03 was how bad it is in low light. And, like, as an FPV camera, that shit's super important to be able to have it work in low light. So 04 being actually better in low light than GoPro is insane. It's still probably not as good in low light as like a totally dedicated FPV camera, but it's a lot better than 03, and that's awesome. And so, yeah, there's just so many benefits. The range is ridiculous, right? We all know that. And then to be able to have a rig that provides GoPro Hero 12 levels of HD quality at the same time as FPV, that's pretty rad. If you want to drop down to 30 frames per second, your latency is going to kind of suck. So there's still arguments for carrying an external camera. But think about this, right? Like, my Cinewhoops, the ability to just not run a GoPro in there and have them be under 400 grams. 400 grams is now the new limit. If you file a waiver, it's a little bit of a different process than sub 250, but it's very straightforward. If you put in a waiver and you're sub 400 grams, you can fly over crowds of people now. And so a regular old Cinesplorer with no GoPro in it is under 400 grams, just barely. And you have to run a specific battery, but it's there. And so that is amazing. You've got one build that you can fly under 400 grams around people and use the O4 live feed as well as record. In theory, O4 will allow you to do a live feed and DVR. But I mean, regardless, you could fly one battery for the live feed and then one battery for DVR, worst case scenario, if they won't do both of them at the same time like the Vistas. But yeah, to have one build that you can use as a live broadcast rig, as a rig to provide longer flight times with O4 quality footage, or for whatever reason, if you can also carry an external HD camera and then set the internal O4 system to be as high frame rate and as low latency as possible, that's pretty awesome. What I really dig about that too is that the DJI Action 5 is really good in low light, and so that gives you even more options. I got the Hero 12 because I absolutely needed something, but at some point I think this might get destroyed and geek squatted so that I can swap over to the Action 5, because it's just so good in low light, and that's like a really big deal. So yeah, to have like one Cinewhoop to rule them all, you know, that's pretty exciting. Because it for me, like, it sucks to have a separate setup of live flying rigs and then a completely separate Cinewhoop. Like, when I was going on those cycling gigs a lot, I was having to bring all that shit because they would want some HD footage, and then it's like Cinewhoop with this, right? And then those to fly around the cyclists and whatnot. To be able to combine all that would be awesome. And yeah, all you like, and then you can even play around with like taking the ducts off of the Cinewhoops if you're not going to be flying over people, right? You just plop 3 screws per duct, pull the ducts off, change the propellers, and you've got something kind of like the Tooth Fairy, right? Like, this is a weird combination of that where, like, technically this does have these guards on it, so I can technically fly this around people. I really try not to, because this is not going to provide jack shit for protection. But, like, what this ends up getting used for is, like, if I'm going to fly, like, if I want to fly really fast over, like, a bunch of treetops, but then, like, there is going to be a patch of people that I have to cross over, right? 99% of the flight is totally safe, and then just for that 1% of the time that I happen to cross over people, it's a little bit in the danger zone. But, I mean, like, this, like, the FAA says no externally rotating things that can cause lacerations. These are not rotating. Yes, maybe these could cause lacerations, but they're not rotating. These are, right? So, like, technically this is within the rules. Realistically, I don't like it. You know, that's for each one of us to kind of deal with, right? But, you know, something like this is a great example of, like, it can do everything. It's got, like, onboard, in the future, a similar design to this could have onboard O4, also carry an external camera. This is the FPV Cycle Tooth Fairy 2 frame, for anybody wondering. I did a little bit of customization to get these guards to work with the... So these are the Cinewhoop arms. So I can actually take these guards off of here. They're just bolted to the bottom of the motor. I can take these off, and then this is the Cinewhoop arm for the Tooth Fairy 3. I can bolt on the full plastic, nice and slow flying Cinewhoop ducts to this. So this is a really interesting kind of platform to be able to do a lot of different things. these are just 4 bolts. So in theory, you could actually just buy these and run them on the regular Cinesplorer frame. I don't know. I love the idea, though, of having rigs that are totally adaptable, and the 04 system is going to really help with that, if that makes sense. So, yeah, super interesting stuff. The 04 system is really, really wild stuff. Uriel says, first you have to bind 20 drones. Yeah, I've been binding a few drones a day, every day. I've been lining them all up here, and then just every so often I'll plug one in, go in there, dump in my binding phrase. Some of them I can't put the binding phrase in, and I have to try to figure out how they're bound. This is one of the reasons that I didn't want to update the ELRS, because I knew that I had a bunch of rigs that don't have the ability to use binding phrases, and sometimes it's just like, you know, if I plug a battery in 3 times and it doesn't go into bind mode, it's like, you know, this AIO is 2.5 years old. I don't remember how to bind it. Sometimes finding info on the internet for older stuff like that is really difficult. But yeah, I haven't run into that quite yet. I've gotten lucky so far, but it is what it is. Limit says, how heavy would a rig get using the 1.5mm WeBleed bells compared to the 1mm shaft? It shouldn't really be significantly heavier. You're replacing plastic with metal, and plastic is pretty heavy. So yeah, the hub of the propellers is no different. It's just, is there enough plastic? Is there a bunch of plastic, but there's a 1mm metal pin in the middle? Or is there a little bit less plastic and a little bit more metal with a 1.5mm pin? And so, yeah, I doubt that there's a significant weight difference. Even if there is a weight difference, the change in durability is well worth it. I'm really hoping that all the Tiny Whoop stuff moves to a 1.5mm motor shaft. It's going to help with the propellers flying off, right? There's going to be, with the 1.5mm shaft, there's more contact area between the motor shaft and the propeller, so the propeller will hang on better. And yeah, on the lighter weight Tiny Whoops, we will never bend a 1.5mm motor shaft, which is awesome, because the 1mm motor shafts are absolutely the weak point of all of these Tiny Whoop builds. Alfaxis says, do you have a link to those storage discharger plugs for XT6030? I do not, but what the fuck? Don't ask me that. Looks like they're on Amazon. Here, hold on. Look at this. Hey! Those look like XT60. Where's the XT30 ones? There's the XT30 one. Alright, so check this out. Oh, where's the thing? What? Where's the thing? Oh, they changed it. Here's the link to the XT30 in the chat. That is an affiliate link. Amazon makes it really easy to get affiliate. Oh, look at this! Look at this! Here we go! Here we go! Even better! Even better! Even better! Here's the XT30. I mean, that other link will work, but this is from the ViFly Store. And here's the XT60. And 2 of them is a great idea. Definitely get 2 of them. It's so nice to have 2 of the damn things. One of them is 50% too few. And there's an affiliate link to the XT60. There you go. It's sitting in the chat for you. You beautiful bastards. Yeah, they're super nice to have, man. Super, super, super nice to have. Freelojo says, I saw a pic of a package, said 04 on packing label, plain white box too. Yeah, they're out. People are testing them. BMF Spade says, I sent you an email about your last stream issue. I haven't figured it out yet. Just noticed something. Maybe it'll help. Yeah, I replied back. So BMF Spade sent an email that said, hey, I noticed that your channel map is wrong from what it normally is in your last video. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's where the binding problems are coming from. Channel mapping has nothing to do with binding, though. Binding is just a whole separate thing. Basically, the way that I do it is that I get the transmitter bound first, and then I change the channel map, and then I add deadband, and then I change the top and low points. So the reason that my channel mapping was wrong is I couldn't get past step 1, which is always to bind it. And so, yeah, the channel mapping has nothing to do with binding. JP Spin says, this is why I come to your stream. I wonder what I was doing at 3:42. Uriel says, on motorbike screen, they have plastic pipe for protection for head injury. On motorbike screen. On the little windscreens, maybe? Sprout says, when do you change your props? What is a good indicator to change them? Also, I did the mods for the MyBio 6 2024, but I can't get my hands on a Micro V in Europe. Do you have an alternative? The company that makes the Micro Vs, ORT, they are in Europe. So there has to be a way for you to get the ORT Micro Vs, right? So if you go on Instagram and you search for old, you'll find Old Radio Transmission. That's their Instagram is OLD Radio Transmission. I mean, first of all, they ship worldwide. Oh, they're in Indonesia. Well, they're closer to you than they are to me here in the U.S. But yeah, it looks like they're actually in Indonesia. But yeah, here's their Instagram. Jump onto their Instagram, shoot them a message, tell them CiottiFPV sent you, and say, yo, I'm here. Do you have any... A, can you ship to me? Or B, do you have any resellers in my area? You know, they'll hopefully be able to help you out. They were super helpful to me when I messaged them asking for custom stuff done. So yeah, they should be good. Check them out on Instagram. They seem like a great company. Oh, and then, so when do you change your props? That's actually a great question. It's a pretty like individual kind of thing, and it's going to have a lot to do with your tune. If you're running a stock, like chilled out kind of tune, you can pound the props into the dirt, and the tune will never get, not never, but it'll take a long time for the tune to get overactive. Eventually, propellers will get so beat up and out of balance that the vibrations that they start to cause will be so much that the PID loop starts to think that those vibrations are like the wind hitting it, basically, and the PID loop will try to correct those vibrations. And so you've got a vibration happening like this, and then the PID loop, which is just error correction, it's going to try to fix this. So when your propeller makes the rig vibrate in one direction, the error correction is going to fire the motors up in the opposite direction. Well, then the propeller is going to vibrate the other direction, and the PID loop is going to fire the motors up in the opposite direction. And that's going to just keep happening. And that is the trilling oscillation that you get when rigs try to fly away when they are over-tuned. And so, yeah, it really depends. As propellers get more beat up, they become less efficient, and they don't fly as good either. So it's like kind of a sliding scale, and it depends on how much of a performance hit you're willing to withstand. But it's also going to depend on how aggressive your tune is set. And so this is why I don't recommend that you guys keep pushing your tune to the absolute bitter limit, because then you have no headroom for when your propellers start to get banged up, or just when your propellers start to get old. Something that I run into on the Cinewhoops is that I fly a lot of batteries on those rigs, and propellers are plastic. And if you've ever spun a propeller up full throttle, you'll see the blades move significantly. And so, and think about how the PID loop works, right? It's speeding up and slowing down the motors constantly. So it is flexing those propeller blades over and over and over again. And so the Cinewhoops that don't really get crashed, and when we crash is typically when we replace the propellers, on my Cinewhoops, I have to be cognizant of, once I've put like 100, 200 batteries through a set of propellers, I need to change them out. It actually just happened to me. My main Cinewhoop that I haven't changed the tune on in forever, all of a sudden started flying like shit. And it's happened to me once or twice now with it, and it's now happened enough times where I said, hold on, don't dive into Betaflight and start fixing shit, just change the propellers. And I changed the propellers, and it was all good, and it was absolutely back to normal. So, yeah, propellers are wear items. Even rigs that don't break them, you do need to replace them eventually. I mean, the right answer, I think, to your question is actually, like, when do you change your props? As often as you possibly can. Because a brand new, fresh set of propellers is magic. Whether or not you've crashed the rig, whether or not you've flown it a bunch, just fresh props are like the nicest thing that you can do to a rig. So like if somehow your brain and your budget allows you to change propellers every single time you go out and fly, and you don't care about the amount of time that it takes or whatever, that's like beautiful. You've got an absolute fresh set of props every single time. That's going to be magic. That's going to give you the best possible flight experience that you can have. It's going to be a little bit expensive, and you're going to spend a bunch of time before you go out and fly changing your propellers out. But that's best case scenario. Backing yourself off from there saves you money and time. And then, you know, you can dive a little bit deeper and think about how far you want to push your PID tune and all the other stuff we just talked about. But yeah, it's actually a really good question that's way more nuanced than most people think, right? Like you ask most people that and they're like, oh, you change them when they're all bent to shit and they're ruined. Well, like, no, that is absolutely not a one-size-fits-all answer. That's the answer that somebody that crashes a lot is going to give you, right? If that's not you, then that's okay. Off Axis says, just found them on Rotor Village too. Thanks, buddy. You're certainly welcome, dude. Limits 20 says, is it okay to drill all my 1mm props to make them 1.5? Absolutely not. You will very rarely be able to drill a 1mm prop out to 1.5 and have it still be balanced, which is the biggest problem. The other problem is that it's a pain in the ass to do it, and it takes a bunch of time. And so when you fly that rig on those propellers that you spent a bunch of time modifying, you're not going to fly it hard because you don't want to have to replace the props and do it all over again and over again and over again and over again. Hold on, let me stop this. Charge, you bastard! Charge! Hey, okay. Good question. If you're going to try it, what you need is a set of drill bits with 1mm, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and 1.5. Even better, 1mm, 1.05, 1.1, 1.15, 1.2, 1.25, and you've got to step it up each step of the way. That is the only possible chance that you have at getting the propellers even remotely balanced. Even doing that, they will probably not be balanced. I've done this many, many, many times. And yeah, when the drill bit goes through, there's nothing to keep it centered. And so if the drill bit wants to grab with the first little part of the digger, I don't know what that part of the drill bit is called. If that decides that it wants to grab one side harder than the other, it's gonna. The other thing it'll do, if this is the hub of the prop, the other thing it'll do is they'll start going in sideways, and then the prop does this, which is absolute worst case scenario. To really do it, you would have to have a drill press, and you'd have to build a jig to hold the little tiny propellers. It's completely unreasonable. Just wait. You know, we've got GemFan 1208 tri-blades available in 1.5, and now on WeBleed we've also got the WeBleed GemFan 1210s, available in 1.5. Those 1210s are one of the 3 best Tiny Whoop props ever produced. So at the moment, just run 1210s. They're a fantastic propeller. I have to assume that before long we will have HQ ultralight props in 1.5, as well as hopefully the GemFan 1219Ss in 1.5. I have zero inside info on that, but you know, from just a demand perspective, yeah, everybody wants 1.5mm rotor shafts that knows what's what. I'm dying. I need more water, or I will actually die. So here's the rest of that battery from the Hummingbird. Sorry, from the BLV5 2S. I'll be right back. There we go. Here, here's my talking over it. I didn't do much talking, but...
You know what I mean?
Oh, hold on. I said something there.
There's super...
Yeah, I'm talking.
Although it kind of is. I'm staying really kind of close quarters, super proximity. There's people running around, cars all over the place. But yeah, this is a perfect scenario for a 2S Tiny Whoop, I think. You know what I mean? Pushing out a little bit here. Let's put the nose down. Whoa. Bailed again. Didn't quite get the height. There we go. So we're at 2 minutes and 40, and I mean, we're outside railing around. 350 mAh 2S. This is fun. Probably run this battery down a little bit more. We're pretty much there, though.
Dronester, ask your question again. I don't see it.
These are not high volt batteries. These are regular old.
All right, shut up past me. Let's pull this over here and just get this turned back down. Yeah, I don't know what happened, Dronester. I don't see your question anywhere. If you put a link into your comment, YouTube deleted it. I don't have any control over that. Or if you didn't tag me, you have to tag me in order for me to I can't read the entire chat. So you have to type CiottiFPV into your chat comment. Just like, you know, if you see somebody on the street, you don't just like start talking to them. You say like, "Yo, John," and then you talk to them. I think this is Dronster's question. Walksnail 1S VTX losing video after landing not hard. Have to recycle, have to power cycle to get video back. I can arm though without video. Second VTX have the same issue. I haven't heard about that specific issue, but you know, they're cramming an awful lot into a single 25 by 25 board. Like the fact that for 6 grams we can get 1080 60 really good looking video is pretty astonishing. Cadix Walksnail does have a repair service on their website. They basically just want you to email them. So yeah, they will repair it. What you can try is power it off of the battery. If you have it powered off of a 5-volt Beck from, like, if you have it powered from 5-volt pads on your AIO, what you're doing is the battery power is coming in, it's going through a 5-volt Beck, and then it's going into the Walksnail, which has its own either 3.3 or 5 volt Beck. So you've got these two BECs connected to one another, and apparently you don't really want to do that. So just send the Walksnail battery voltage, and that works a lot better, and there's a chance that'll fix the problem. FPV SYQ says, as a newcomer into the FPV world, I went to start with an Air 65. My question is, would you recommend starting in angle or spend the time practicing in acro? Most people will say go directly into acro. The problem with that is flying FPV is difficult regardless. Like, no matter what, it's difficult. Acro is significantly more difficult than angle mode. So recommending acro right off the bat, there's the chance that it's going to be too difficult and you're going to quit. And that sucks because FPV is absolute magic. But like your first 6 months to a year suck balls. Like, it's nasty, man. You're going to try to do custom builds. They're going to catch on fire. You're going to buy the wrong parts. You're going to follow somebody's advice on Facebook, and more than 50% of the advice on Facebook or Reddit is dead ass wrong. Like, it is a nightmare to get into like proper FPV. Bad Neuron, great point. Acro, but on the simulator, the simulators are absolutely so important when you're starting off. They can be a little bit boring, but like, yeah, you're saving a lot of money in the simulator, and you're not having to go walk and get the rig. So like the simulators are really good for building your initial skill set up. But there's nothing like flying for real, and there's an anxiety that happens when you're flying for real because there's something on the line, right? The rig that you're flying, or the things that you're flying around that you don't want to smash. And so yeah, it's the simulator is super important, but the actual flying is like the real thing that you're going for. Most people are going for. So yeah, that's a really tough question to answer. If you're a stubborn person, go straight to acro. Or if you can just have the conversation with yourself of like, I am not going to quit this. I'm going to do the harder thing, and it's going to suck, but I'm not going to quit until I become competent at it. And like, if you get 6 months in and you're like, well, fuck this, I'm going to quit, maybe at that point go back to angle mode or something like that. But like, I don't know. If you're not a super stubborn person, maybe start in angle. For a long time, lots of tiny whoop pilots, and probably still to this day, tiny whoop pilots that are trying to fly in the house, which is outrageously difficult, will fly horizon or angle mode. It does make flying in close quarters proximity a lot easier. But here's the thing. Angle and horizon mode work against you in acro in some ways. The throttle control that you learn in angle mode and horizon is awesome. That helps. Everything else, it makes it harder for you when you go to acro, which is why, like, if you're stubborn enough, go straight into acro. There is almost nothing other than throttle control that you're going to learn from angle or horizon mode that's going to help you once you go acro. And so, yeah, for a long time, I had, and I still do, I have horizon mode on a switch here. I used to have that set up because I would fly tiny whoops inside in acro and go have fun, do flips and rolls. And then when I wanted to shoot a gap in like a chair or something, I would flip it up into angle or horizon mode, and that would make it easier to shoot that gap. And then I would flip it back into acro mode to actually fly around for fun. Nowadays, I have it set up so that in the same way, so that if I ever lose video, I can flip it up into horizon mode real quick. It'll level out, and then I can add a bunch of throttle, and in theory, I'll get above whatever is killing the video signal. So now it's still set up like that, but just for safety. Initially, it was set up because angle horizon mode made shooting gaps easier. If you continue to fly acro more and more and more and more, you'll get plenty good at flying gaps, and you'll, you know, having one skill set of angle mode and one skill set of acro mode, you're going to get half as good at either. If you just focus on acro, you'll get a lot better at acro a lot quicker, right? And acro is really what you want, in my opinion. I guess the lines get a little bit muddied nowadays with how good the DJI stuff is, right? Because, like, the Avata 2 has all kinds of fancy, like, position hold and all that shit, and that's more similar to angle horizon mode, so I don't know. What do you want to be into? Do you want to be into, like, proper fucking FPV, or do you want to be into videography? If it's videography, then the Avata 2 is one hell of a tool, and the lines become a little bit more blurry. But if you're into it for, like, proper OG FPV, acro, hands down. Dronester says, yeah, I get it. Just thought maybe it's a common thing. Yes, it is from 5 volt. We'll do the battery then. Yeah, get it onto the battery pads. The other thing could be is that the 5 volt back in your AIO could be on its way out. You said that you've had 2 of the Walksnail VTXs doing it. That starts to maybe point towards that, right? You changed the Walksnail VTX and nothing got improved. The common denominator is the AIO. So yeah, hook it up to direct battery voltage, problem might go away. Limits 20 says, I dropped one of my 65s yesterday from the 6th floor straight to the concrete. Cockroach V3, Happy Model 2G4, 32,500, WeBleed motors, RunCam Nano 3, old Mobile 6 canopy, not even a bent prop. Even the battery survived. It's actually an interesting segue into something that I was being all crazy about yesterday. WeBleed has everything that you need to build the ultimate freestyle tiny whoop. But boy, I didn't realize it was that expensive to custom build it. I mean, so the previous formula was you buy a Mobula 6 ELRS and then you do a motor swap. The Mobula 6 ELRS at one point was $100. The motor swap is going to cost you another 44, 45-ish. So, like, we're not that much more expensive. Also, that Mobula 6 did not come with BT 2.0. You know, this is also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these BT 2.0 leads for $8. So this certainly doesn't help here. But yeah, I mean, this is it. And so also there's another difference in that the old Mobula 6 ELRS came with a RunCam Nano 3. Nowadays, that camera has been discontinued, but FXT has this FX17 camera that is included in the Mobula 6 2024 that does work in the Mobula 6 old school canopy. You're just going to have to use a little file and open up the front opening for the bigger lens, but it's super easy to do. And so, yeah, this is the current... As much as I would love to get away from the 2G4 and just recommend the Mobula 6 2024, this AIO is just bomb-proof, and the Mobula 6 2024 one is just not as bomb-proof. The new AIO is similar to all of the currently produced AIOs in that they're a little bit lighter weight, but they're not as durable. And, like, for me, man, the durability of the ultimate setup is mega. And the fact that we can still get these 2G4s is amazing. And so this is still sort of it for me. I'm considering asking Zotac if there's any kind of a volume discount that I can get on this shopping cart times 5 or times 10. and then I build a whole bunch of these, you know, CiottiFPV tiny whoops and put them on the Etsy store. You know, even with a discount, I'm gonna have to sell them for like $200, which is kind of insane. But I put an awful lot of time and effort into finding this magical formula, and so in theory, maybe there's 10 people that are willing to support me in that. And also, you're gonna get my tune, and yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm probably gonna ask Zotek just for the sake of argument, but I know that the margins are like nothing in FPV, so I really don't expect any kind of a discount. What I do love though is that you can build an ultimate freestyle tiny whoop on WeBleed on one place. He's got the 2G4s in stock. I don't think anyone else has these in stock at the moment. He's got these new 0702s with the 1.5mm motor shaft. He's got propellers for the 1.5mm motor shaft. He's got the Cockroach V3 frame in. He's got the FXT camera in. He's got the old school Mobula 6 canopy in. He's got a whole bunch of stuff in stock that like nobody else does, which is amazing. And so yeah, this is super rad. This is super, super, super cool that you can do this high performance of a tiny whoop that's also this durable all in one shop. Yeah, really, really cool stuff. Thrash FPV says, doesn't angle mode teach bad habits? It sure does. We talked about that. I'm assuming you said that as I was talking about it. FPV SysQ says, thanks for taking the time for my question. I'm quite stubborn and have started acro for 20 batteries a day for the last 14 days. But again, thanks so much for taking the time. You're certainly welcome, man. I simply didn't know which way to go. I want to practice OG for sure. Yeah, look, if you've done 20 batteries a day for the last 14 days, fuck angle mode. Like you're beyond. You've still got a long way to go. Don't get me wrong, but you've put enough time into acro already where angle mode is not really going to help you. Like you're already sort of beyond that. So just stick with acro. Get into the simulator as much as you possibly can. It's a different skill set, but the simulator is just raw stick time. There's no repairs. There's no changing batteries. There's no chasing the quad when it disappears behind the sofa. And so in the simulator, if you sit there for 15, 20 minutes, you are getting 15 or 20 minutes of flying, of acro training. And then you fly for real. But like getting into the simulator for 10, 15, 20 minutes a night every night is a big deal. And that will like elevate your flying ability faster than almost anything else. You absolutely also need to fly for real because it is a unique, different experience. But still, yeah, the simulator is magic. Jordanster says, I run Mobula 7, 22,000 kV, 2S, no motor, Jesus. No motor limit, it rips for sure. But those RC cars on a straight line that I'm chasing are a bit quicker. What setup would you recommend? Oh, God. If you push any harder than that, I think you're going to start blowing up ESCs. I mean, there aren't motors that are higher kV than that. Man, I have no idea. I guess maybe since you're targeting top speed, you want to move to a propeller that has more pitch. But that's going to be a heavier propeller, and so there's going to be some downsides there. I mean, you've got a setup that's like at the bleeding edge of what's possible. So yeah, you're way beyond anything that I've done. So you're into this territory of like you're on your own kind of stuff. Jordan says it doesn't have to be a Mobula 7. I guess maybe something without prop guards. That's going to make it much more aerodynamic, and it'll just carry more speed that way. But then the problem is going to be in the corners. It's going to be a bitch to corner. So Azalea is outside right now, moving rocks around. And I just caught her taking selfies with her phone. And it's just That's what a magical little moment. Azalea's the best. She's Maggie's 14-year-old. She's just awesome. Just an awesome kid. It's funny watching people when they, they think they're alone. That statement in a different context gets weird. She's taking a break from moving rocks and she's just playing around on her phone. She's just pacing back and forth. Azalea is a pacer. She the kitchen is right above me, and then the living room is over here. And I always know when Azalea's in the kitchen because I just hear thump, 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 thump of her pacing back and forth. Limits 20 says, I can now tell that this build is indestructible. Yeah. Dronester, oh, we got that. The Right Wells says, all the camera guys sell their Luts. Why not sell the tune rather than the build? The whole selling Luts thing is absolutely maddening to me. I really don't like it at all. I would never do that with a tune. I would rather teach you guys how to tune, especially because it's so easy to do, then yeah, like I would rather work with you guys through Fiverr to teach you how to tune and or just give it away for free, because again, it's something that you need to know. You don't need to know it. It's something that it's really helpful to know. And yeah, I just selling also, I guarantee that if I tried to sell a tune, people would freak out and be like, wow, what an asshole. Who the fuck does that? That was the reaction that a lot of people had to folk selling Luts as well. But yeah, I would rather you guys support me through Patreon, and or hire me through Fiverr to sit down one-on-one with you and teach you how to tune than try to like sell a pre-baked tune. Because here's the other thing, as you crash more and more, the tune's gonna fall apart. So like essentially, if you're going to push your tune beyond where it is on defaults, you need to know how to tune, because you need to know how to back it off for when the rig starts to get beat up. So like for me to sell a tune, what that opens the door to is a whole bunch of, hey, the tune's all fucked up now, or my AIO blew up and it's your fault, or my motor's cooked and it's your fault, or all that nonsense. And I have zero interest in any of that. And so, yeah, if you're going to do tuning, it really doesn't make much sense to use presets or to use somebody else's tune. If you want an aggressive tune, take the 10 minutes that it takes to listen to one of my rants about it, or hire me for $40 to sit down with me one-on-one for half an hour and we can really dive into it. That's how to do it. That's the right way to do it. I wish that somebody had been around to tell me that early days, because I wasted lots of time. Dronzer says, what would be your setup choice, at least on the motors / with what size props, how many cells, ideally 2 to 2.5 inch frame. 2S could be 3S nuts, but I don't want, you don't want to go any bigger, because you're chasing something that has grip on the ground, and that means that it's going to change direction like instantaneously. And so going bigger, going heavier is not the answer. That's why I also kind of don't think that taking the prop guards off is the answer, because that works in opposition. To be honest, I think it's a fly around it situation, where when they leave you in the straight bits, you just raise elevation to keep them in frame, and then as soon as they corner, you drop back down and you hook up with them for the tight technical sections of the racetrack, and you can stay with them because you're so lightweight, and then when they leave you on the straight, you let them leave you. And that also gives you some variability in the footage that you're providing, right? Like, the magic of FPV footage is that we can change elevation, right? For the first time ever, other than actual helicopters, we're able to change elevation. All other cinematography has been done inside a car, on a boom arm, tripod, right, where your elevation is locked. So yeah, I don't think there's a real solution for you from a gear standpoint, but I think that's okay. I think this is going to be a nice challenge for you to figure out how to troubleshoot that problem with the gear that you've got. And I think it is going to add some really cool variability. It's also going to show how fast the RC cars are, which is a good thing, right? Like, we always want to like stay tight and stay close to the subject and like show how good of a pilot that we are. We're the only ones that care about that. Every single other person watching our footage is interested in the story. They're interested in the subject. And if the subject goes rampaging away from you, it's like, damn, that RC car is so fast, it's faster than the drone. That's awesome. They're not saying, like, look at this shitty-ass drone pilot, he can't even keep up with the RC car. You're not on their radar at all. If you're doing your job properly, they don't even know that you exist. They're watching the subject. They're watching the story. They're not watching the pilot. You know, like, we very selfishly, like, we want to show, myself included, we want to show off our piloting skills, if at all possible, but, like, that ain't it. Like, proper cinematography, you don't think about the person behind the camera once. Maggie and I started, so Maggie was raising children and belly dancing and homesteading and doing all kinds of amazing things in her life when in like the not the late 90s, but like the 2000s, the 2010s, when a lot of really great TV shows were coming out. The Wire, Breaking Bad, Dexter, loads, right? You guys know. And one of the really fun things in our relationship in the last 2.5 years is that she hasn't seen any of these shows. I have multiple times. And so I get this really cool opportunity to rewatch a lot of these shows again, which I love. I love watching shows a second, a third, a fourth time through. But B, I get to like curate and try to like figure out which ones that she'll really love. Last night we started on Dexter. I've been just keeping Dexter in my back pocket and just like waiting for the right time. And for what I guess like with Halloween right around the corner or whatever, I was like, all right, now's the time. And also like we're not in the middle of any other shows right now. And so yeah, we ripped through 4 episodes I think of Dexter last night, and it was just amazing. And like I think this is my 3rd time watching Dexter. And there was not one single in 4 hours of that show last night. There was not one single moment where I thought, damn, that camera operator killed that. And that's the point. That show has some of the best cinematography ever. There were a couple of moments where it was like, ooh, that was genius storyboarding. But like, there's not one single moment where you think about that camera operator. That's one of the best camera operators on earth. And that's the point. Your job is to disappear. If you're doing your job, the better you're doing your job, the less people are going to think about you. It's like weirdly insulting, but it's really important. And as Uriel just said, only bad camera work is seen. Yep, exactly right. The only time you think about the camera operator is when it's like, why is that quad shaking all over the place? Who is this half-assed pilot that can't tune their shit? In reality, it's probably just a windy day, but hey, it is what it is. Athix says, how you doing this Sunday? I'm good, brother. How about you? Thrash FPV says, if I have a client for drone work, do they usually have a editor themselves? Totally depends. And if they don't, how much extra would you charge? And do you avoid color grading, just stabilize if they do? I am a half-assed editor and a really decent pilot. I try to link up with people that have editors. I'm lucky enough to be like an old school FPV pilot from close to the beginning, right? And so my experience is going to be different than most. But yeah, I try not to edit. I have only ever done maybe 2 edits for people, and they were and it was like one of them was like a home fly through, and the guy was like, "Yo, can you just like drop a song on there?" Like I don't even because I did it as a one shot, as a oneer. And so I was like, yeah, it's totally fine. And just did like a super simple little quick color grade, whatever. I'm not great at color grading. I don't even use the color wheels. But yeah, what you charge for editing, I have no idea. You look up like editors on Fiverr and see what they're charging. My hunch is, and what it seems to usually be for just skilled labor in general, is somewhere between $1 a minute, $60 an hour, and $100 an hour. The really good folks can get 150, 200 an hour, but that's pretty rare. So yeah, 60 to 100 an hour is a good sort of ballpark, but my hunch is that editors charge less than that because editing takes many, 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 many hours. And so, yeah, I don't really know what editing costs because I just don't really offer it. Dronzer says, thanks. Do you think a 3-blade will add a bit more speed? Yes, it will be okay. No worries. It's going to be less about how many blades and more about the pitch of the blades. The more pitchy propeller is going to be more comfortable at higher speeds, and it's going to hit higher speeds. So you're looking for additional pitch, not necessarily additional blades. If you're on a 2-blade right now, you're probably going to have to add extra blades because there are only 2 bi-blade propellers, the gem fan and the HQ. The gem fan is more pitchy. It's probably the prop that you're already running. And so you're already running the highest pitch bi-blade, more than likely. There are tri-blades that are a higher pitch, but they are way heavier. But yeah, there you go. Good Lord. I didn't think we would have that many questions, but hey, sometimes you guys are on fire, and that's okay. Let's dive into some toothpick stuff. Okay. So, the easiest and quickest build is going to be to get this thing back up in the air. And so let's go for a quick win first here, and then we'll dive into like the more custom kind of build. So again, mega thanks to Newbie Drone for sending over this BLV5. I had a blast. I flew a bunch of batteries with it. It's a little bit heavier than what I would do for a 75mm analog rig, and so let's pull it apart. And we will use the pieces elsewhere. What? Why is that? How is that so... What? I got the one thing straightened out, but then this... How is this not... What the fuck? What the hell? Be straight, bro! Why is it constantly crooked? There we go. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. There we are. Okay. So we're going to be disassembling, and we're going to disassemble and reassemble Johnny 5. This is also going to give me the opportunity to get some weights on this stuff. I'm super curious as to what this canopy and camera setup weighs compared to the old school Newbie Drone canopy and BI. So this is kind of cool. This BLV5 2S 75mm build is awful heavy. A lot of the weight is because these 0804 motors, which I'm not sad at all to kind of be moving away from. Although, man, did they performed way better than I thought. I was really worried about these motors, because like the 804 stator size is a 2-to-1 ratio of width to height, which is crazy. Like I can't believe that that works at all. Also, 14,000 kV is a little bit low from a kV standpoint, but man, these motors really shocked me as to how decent they performed, but they're awful big and awful heavy, and I think we've got some, and they're a bit of a low kV too, so I'm pretty sure we've got some motors that'll outperform these quite a bit. And I'm really excited to get this frame onto a tiny lifter too. Like that's gonna be super awesome. And so yeah, let's like I said, I flew this thing a bunch. It was awesome. Let's get it. Let's get the guts of this thing into some builds where I think that they'll make a little bit more sense. All right, so we've got the motors pulled. Also, I really want to do this 2S toothpick thing. I think this will be super fun for something that that I can push and around the neighborhood a little bit and fly a little bit bigger. You know, ELRS gives us such amazing range. It'll be nice to use it a little bit. I'm a little bit worried I'm going to outrun the video, but I'll put a good antenna on it. I'll get good antenna placement, and we'll just see. We will just see. If I kept this thing together, what would happen is that I would just demolish these motors. And then it would be a situation, because they only have the 1mm motor shafts, and this thing is kind of heavy. And so I would rather pull these motors off and find something else to do with them. Or, I mean, if one of you guys really wants these motors, I'd probably be willing to sell them to you. But yeah, they just don't make sense in this particular build. I'm just gonna end up destroying them, and that's kind of silly. That's just like destruction for the sake of destruction, you know what I mean? And like sometimes I'm down for that. Like if it's a rig that I think like everybody's gonna run out and buy, then like I'm somewhat down for destroying things just to see how long it lasts. But this is a pretty niche kind of build, and I don't think that like everybody's gonna run out and buy this. I think you guys are more interested in what I'm interested in, which is this AIO and this frame, and just in general, like 2S being potentially a better bet for these 75mm rigs. And so that's kind of the road that we're going down here. All right. And so let's get this out of here. All right, so they've got this Immortal T threaded through the frame here. That's kind of slick. But I need to get it out of there, so let's just bend this guy over like that. There we go. Alright, and now that can come out, and then I gotta just send this back up through here. Alright, there's that. Come on. No, get off. Get out of there. There we go. Okay. And this XT30 is gonna have to come off. That's okay. Alright, so cool. So yeah, this frame is gonna go to the tiny lifter. I'm actually gonna pop these motors off. Yeah, if you have a if you have the Newbie drone, oh my god, speaking of, so Newbie drone has an 03 carrying Tiny Whoop that uses these motors that Min Chan Kim just did a little indoor flight video with. And like this guy, he's done this a couple times now. Like, I've said it forever, the racers are just a different breed entirely. Like, you talk about what's possible from an FPV pilot that just focuses on flying and just spends thousands and thousands and thousands of hours on the sticks in the simulator, in the real world. Also, what's cool for them is like they race against the clock, and so they have a physical thing to tell them how good of a job they're doing, right? Like with freestyle, the only real feedback we get is when we watch our footage and go, oh, that's so good, look how good I am. Or like, oh, that sucks so bad, I need to get better. Like when you're actually racing against the clock, you can make subtle changes and see if they're affected. Like it's a lot less sort of just out in outer space of like, you know, this is good, this is bad. If the stopwatch says it was quicker, then it was better. Period. There's no questioning that. And having that level of feedback is, yeah, that is going to help for sure. And so yeah, the racers, the top racers just rip. It's just absolutely outrageous. And yeah, Minchan took the 03 newbie drone rig and ripped it in a very small space. I don't even know. Unbelievable. And so if any of you have that rig, these are the motors from that rig. If you want to have some backup motors, I got you covered. I can't think of many other scenarios where somebody would really want these motors. 804 is a very odd size. And they've got the tiny little motor plugs on them, the JST 1.0 instead of the industry standard 1.25. But yeah, I can't think of something that I would use these motors for. And so if somebody wants them, let me know. I'll probably let them go. Cool. So this is the new Goober canopy, which is set up to hold cameras that have actual screw mounts, and I believe it's significantly heavier. Let's find out. This is a RunCam Nano 4. RunCam Nano 4 camera, which is one of, if not maybe the lightest nano camera with screw mounts. So I think this is about as light as it gets when you've got a screw mounted camera. And we're coming in at 5.25 grams. So we're going to compare that to the old school Goober canopy with the old BI camera, which I really, really like. So 5.3 grams for this setup. Oh yeah. 3.2 grams for that. So 2 gram weight savings. 5.3 versus 3.23. Yeah, so 2 gram difference between the new school canopy and the old school canopy. I actually, so with these newbie drone builds, the OSD setup, I find that the BI camera looks the best when being used on the newbie drone AIOs with their specific OSD kind of setup. So I actually, this RunCam Nano 4, I would rather have this on a regular canopy with a regular OSD chip. So I'm actually gonna save this guy, and we're gonna use an old school BI, but I think we can make it look a little bit fancier. Don't I have some stuff here? So, all right, so this is going to be the build here. We're going to probably use these red props. I think these are my favorite props. The motors are gray. I think the purple thing is good. I'd previously done another one of these new school canopies just because I had it floating around. This has a Caddx ant in it. Oh, that's interesting. The Caddx ant. Oh, it's direct soldered though. The Caddx ant is a good outdoor camera. I think the BI is okay outside though. I dig the purple thing. Oh, but I don't have another... Oh, yeah, I do. Oh, and it's got the camera in it. Done. This is what we're doing. We're going purple. Style is important. Especially with the rigs that you're not going to fly much. Let me just be real honest here for a minute. Alright, sweet. We're going purple. The more purple and red that we can have, the better. Athix says, what 2S motors are you going to use? I'm going to stick with these Newbie Drone 1102... Hold on. 1102 19,000 kV, and then I'm going to motor limit them down a little bit. What's nice is that these have the JST 1.0 plugs already on them, and I just love that this is going to be an all Newbie Drone rig, right? This is going to be a BLV5, the Newbie Drone mosquito frame, Goober canopy, BI camera, Newbie Drone motors, not Newbie Drone props, but still, yeah, this will be like an all Newbie Drone build, which I really love. And it should absolutely rail on 2S. Like, this should fly fucking awesome. I'm way more excited than I thought I would be about this build. So this AIO is blown up. This thing is done. So I will desolder this Caddx Ant camera, and this can stay. This is good to go. It's got the motors bolted down. It's got the battery holder on the bottom that I want. I do need to get this off, so let's fire up the soldering iron here. I've already got the... Yeah, so this motor lead is going to have to come off. The antennas... I think I'm going to switch... I think I'm going to get rid of this Immortal T, and I'm just going to run a simple little whip antenna on here. I'm actually going to steal the antennas from this AIO. So this will be... Newbie Drone does an interesting little double... It's not true diversity, but they do something. They did this on the BLV4. Now they're doing it again on the BLV5, where the where ELRS uses a double antenna setup. And the way they ship it is with a little mini Mortal T, but you can absolutely pop that off and just take one of these other 2.4 just simple whip antennas and just drop that on there. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I did on this one, and I just ran both of those ELRS antennas at the top here, and they're away from the props, and it works totally fine. So yeah, I'm going to mimic this setup here. Soldering iron is now up to temperature. Let's get the Omni Fixo out here because it's the goddamn best. I am fully team Omni Fixo now. I've figured out a couple... My main complaint about the Omni Fixo is that there's not, when you're soldering, there's not quite enough tension to prevent it from moving like that. But the key is to hold it with one. What I really like to do is hold it with two, and that actually helps quite a bit. So if you just clamp it with a second one, that helps a ton. But you can still kind of get that situation where you're pushing with the soldering iron and it's moving away. The solution to that is to take a third one and you grab the clamps. And you like triangulate it and you grab clamp to clamp, and now it won't go anywhere. And now it's just like amazing. So yeah, man, Omni Fixo is doing it. I'm so impressed. I'm in love with the Omni Fixo. If you have any other set of helping hands, throw it in the effing garbage. Throw it in the goddamn river. Man, this flux syringe be clogging. It's a cloggy boy. No, it's a cloggy boy. Arcs UK said, I stopped flying the Walksnail 2S as soon as I built up the same spec 1002 14,000 analog one, 43 grams all up weight. Very cool. Christopher Blackledge says, what does one do with all the broken flight controllers? I'm not sure. Broken flight controllers, I hang on to them for some weird reason. I always think that someday I'm going to take all of my broken electronics and make like a sculpture or something. Yeah, I don't know. I feel bad throwing them all away. Should just throw them all away, but I don't. All right, so there's the battery lead that I'm going to be using on the BLV5. While I'm at it, I might as well desolder this Caddx Ant, which is right over here. Although I got one of these clamps that's kind of in the way. So let's just rotate that out of the way, and then these wires should just pop right off of here. Yep, there's one. I'm not being careful at all because this AIO is blown up. One of the FETs literally caught fire during a live stream because it's not meant for 2S. And I was running 2S on it. And so, yeah, bad things happen when you do that. All right, so there you go. Caddx Ant Life. This is now garbage. This is one of those antennas that popped off without me even realizing it that I'm going to use. Might as well take the rest of these off. And cool. All right. So, yeah, unfortunately, this BLV4 is cooked, as the kids say. As the cool kids say. But, yeah, I'll hang on to it. There's a FET that, like, smoldered. Might not have been a FET. Might have been a regulator. I don't know where it is. But, yeah, this is junk. Let me go put it where I put the other junk stuff. Hang on! Alright! So, here we go. BLV5. First thing we need to do, the only soldering we need to do is changing out the motor connector. We're going to take this XT30 off of it and put a double BT 2.0 onto there, which is going to be exciting. I almost threw up there. That was interesting. All right, so how am I going to hold this? So let's hold it like, all right, hold on. This is like that. All right, so if I hold it like this, unclamp you, so we can kind of come in here, and so now we got our double clamp set up, and then we're gonna clamp to the clamps. And I don't have like a specific way of doing this. I've been just like half-assing it, and it's been working really, really well. So there you go. Random weird little double clamp setup, but look how solid this is now. Like, I'm really pushing on that, and like it's moving a little bit, but you don't push hard with the soldering iron, so it's totally fine. All right, now I'm done charging. I just had to get a couple goggle batteries charged there. All right, so here we go. BLV5. I'm going to put the nerd goggles on because I want to do a good job here. This is going to be a little bit challenging because they've got this capacitor soldered up to these same pads, but we'd be all right. I have a feeling the capacitor is going to want to pop off, but then we'll get it back on there. We'll be good. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Let's do it. I'll try to do one at a time here, and that way the capacitor, in theory, won't pop all the way off. So let's do the ground first. I put a big old blob of flux on there. That's going to really help with heat transfer. But we're not transferring heat right now. This is a big kind of rounded joint. I need to tin the tip of the soldering iron to get a blob of molten solder that's going to conform to the shape of this pad to transfer the heat. So now I've got a blob of solder on the tip of the iron. Now it's going to transfer the heat, and just like that, it already starts to flow. And be patient. There we go. All right, so now that went very cloudy. Probably means they've got lead-free solder all over there. That's okay. We're going to add a bunch of flux to try to get that shiny again. So there's a big old blob of flux there. And now this is the ground pad in beta FPV world, that means white instead of black. But you can also go round as ground. And so this is the round part of the BT 2.0, and that's hooked up to the white wire. And so the answer to the question, where are the white women at, is always answered by beta FPV with ground. I don't know where I'm going with that. But yeah. Get this in place here. All right. And we should be able to push it right in there. The wire's looking good. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to pick up a little bit of solder on the tip of the iron. There we go. And we're going to try to push this wire into the little pocket on the side of the AIO. And now we don't have a totally shiny ball, but it's like somewhere in between cloudy and shiny, and that's totally fine. What we really are looking for is smoothness. The solder, you want the solder joint to be very, very smooth. You don't want any like little aggro crag looking fuckers in there. That is a cold solder joint. I'm going to try this. This is probably not going to want to focus worth a good goddamn, but at least the workbench will be staring at you all weird like. Let me try one more thing. Come on, you bastard. No, I don't want zoom. I want focus. Focus! Turn autofocus off. Oh my god, Logitech, fix your software, bro. Fix your software. Manual focus. Here we go. Oh yeah. Oh, this is thrilling. Alright. That doesn't show you shit. Why is it flickering like that? It's only flickering like that in OBS. Are both of these cameras dying? Are you kidding me? Why is it not flickering in the webcam software though? That's super weird. That's ultra weird. Oh my god. That is super obnoxious. Is it the low light compensation? Nope. Is it the auto exposure? Nope. Why are you doing this? It's never done that before, has it? Oh my god. Here, let's see if this fixes it. No such luck. What's really weird is it's not doing it in the, whatever. I'm going to turn autofocus back on and just move on. What if I quit the software? Hold on. If I quit the Logitech software. Oh, that fixes it. Oh my god, Logitech, your software is so useless. Holy shit. Oh my god. What is wrong with you? Alright, we're not using this camera. Although now it focuses. Wow, their software is so bad that it actually... Not using their software works better. Holy shit, it's staying somewhat in focus. It won't last long. Let's see, though. Now we're going to do the positive. Let's add a little bit more flux, just because when you heat up the ground pad, it makes the whole AIO get hot. And then you can run into problems with flux that you've put elsewhere melting, which is not a big deal, but having a nice blob of this flux paste really helps, I find. Come on, let go. Let go. Let go. It let go. All right, XT30 has been removed. Might end up putting that on the F4. AIO. And so now, in beta FPV world, blue is positive. So we're going to take this blue lead and hook it on up here. Same kind of deal. I'm going to pick up a little solder on the tip of the iron just to help with heat transfer, and away we go. Trying to get the silicone as close to the AIO as I possibly can. All right, and so that solder joint is not totally smooth all the way around, so we're going to do what's called reworking it. We're going to come back in, and we're going to add a little bit more solder. Now it's starting to look like total ass, and now we've actually got too much solder on there. So we're going to rework it again, but we're going to do it right this time. I'm not going to be lazy. I'm going to add a bunch of solder here, and I'm going to go in with the tip of the soldering iron dry because I want to remove some of the solder. I've now got too much solder on here. So clean the shit out of the tip of the soldering iron. And now we're going to come in, and solder flows towards the heat. So naturally, the tip of the soldering iron is going to pick up some of this excess solder. Just like that. And now I've got a little chunk that tried to kind of fling off there. I could try to remove that with the tip of the soldering iron, or I can just come in here with my fingernail and pop it right off. And there we go. But where did that little thing of solder go becomes the question. Make sure you find it, because if it's on the board bridging two things that are important, you're going to have a bad day. So let's find that little piece of solder there that went. Where did it go? Did it fall down? I don't see it. Let's check on the board. Might be like stuck in my fingernail. Or I mean, it could have gone flying. You never know. As long as it's not on the board, we're okay. So let's take a look around here. We're looking good. I mean, right now what I'm doing, this is good to do after any time that you solder. Sometimes there could be a solder ball that you just don't see. So yeah, this is a good thing to do after every single time you solder. Just look for things that are bridged, things that shouldn't be there. There should be no little solder balls anywhere. I think we're okay. I think we got away with it. Kind of pre-bend these wires a little bit here, just because they're going to be going towards the back. And all right, we're good to go. Omnifixo to the rescue. The best little holder thing. Holder thing. It's the best little holder thing, guys. That's what it is. Yeah, I've already got this like set up from the previous build, so I can just drop this right on here. We're gonna plug these motors in, and maybe away we go. Although the location of these motor plugs is a little bit suspect. Like, these motor plugs are kind of banging into the carbon fiber a little bit here. That's interesting. I don't love that. I'm actually gonna, I think I'm gonna clearance this carbon fiber a little bit. Yeah, so here's what's going on. This, there we go. These little pluggy boys, see it? Hitting the carbon? It's just barely hitting it. See it on the corner there? Like, it's just barely touching it. But I would rather remove... Well, I can also take the edge off of the plastic, I guess. Man, it looks like it might be okay. But it also might not. Interesting. I wonder if they've moved the plug location a little bit. Where's that? Oh, I already ran that AIO across the room. Damn, I was hoping this would be completely plug and play. And it, like I said, it might be. But I don't, it's not worth it. It's not worth having this kind of weirdness. It's just too easy to go in with a file and remove a little bit of carbon fiber. And so it's really only in these two little spots that I need to remove it. And so it's kind of like on the outsides here. And so, yeah, super quick. Let's just lay down this little guy. And we're just going to take a tiny little bit of carbon fiber off. If I was doing any more, I would want to like pull this all the way apart and do this in the sink or something like that, but we're just doing a little bit here. Can just kind of get away with it. Just taking a little tiny bit of material off. This is a DIY hobby, you know what I mean? Sometimes this is just what you gotta do. And I'm just kind of making an angle. Like I don't need to go straight down. I just need to make enough room for the top of the plug. And so that right there should be completely fine. That was probably more than I needed to take off. But when we talk about like the AIO sitting in there freely and being able to move around a little bit, this is the stuff that we're like looking for. You're looking for the motor plug that's just a little bit off, and it's just sitting really close to the carbon, and then at a certain motor RPM, it generates a little bit of a wiggle in the AIO, and then that piece of plastic bangs into the carbon, and then that creates this weird, that just creates some weirdness that you can't really have. The gyro needs to see a sine wave where it's even in one direction than the other to really work properly with the way that the filtering works and all that other shit. And so yeah, this is why we custom build right here, right? Like this is it, and this is one of the hazards of using. This is a frame that's a couple years old with a brand new AIO. Maybe they moved those plugs a half a millimeter, and now on this specific carbon fiber frame, it's a little too close. Or maybe the plugs haven't moved and it was always like this and it was just kind of fine. Or maybe they used taller standoffs, or any number of different things could help with this not be a problem. Christ, I've seen rigs come that have the flight controllers full-blown hard-mounted. And they fly. They don't fly great. And you can't crank the PIDs up, but they fly. If you want something that flies awesome, sometimes this is what you got to do. That's all there is to it. That should be more than enough. Levster says, how are you? Nice to see you healthy again. When you will put the new rigs on the Etsy store? This week. I'm finally getting caught up from Pride and from the Atlanta Auto stuff. And so, yeah, this week is the week. Sorry for the delay, brother. It's just been a crazy couple of weeks here. And financially, I really have to put the emphasis on the flying gigs. Also, like, creatively, I have to, just to keep my brain from exploding. So there we go with that. And what's nice doing that on top of a microfiber, microfibers really absorb all the carbon fiber dust. Carbon fiber dust is actually nasty shit. So be careful. Really try not to breathe it in. once it gets into your lungs, it doesn't go anywhere ever. So you're living with it in there for the rest of your life. And if you get enough of it in there, it can be a little bit bad. But as long as you're sort of reasonable with it, you'll be all right. Okay, so hold on. Let me get this one antenna kind of pointing in the right direction here to be able to come up and go through the holes in the frame. All right, so I need it to be like that. That will be perfect. Although, actually, let me... is it this one? Is this the one that's already set up for that? Yeah, this is... Let me swap this antenna out. Oh God, please don't. Oh no. Oh God, no. The IPEX just fell apart. No! No. No. What is the deal with these IPEX and UFL connectors coming apart? This one, it's just the outer ring that kind of popped off. It's still down on the pad is fine, but the little outer ring part just popped up and out. God damn it. Hold on, I'm pushing it back down. It should be okay. Hold on, I need more magnification than this. I need this guy. Yeah, all right, hold on. This should be okay. Once I put a new antenna on here, I think it'll be totally fine. All right. That's back down. This is the antenna that I want to put on here. Let me get this guy snapped down real quick. Real quick, lag. We gonna be all right. We gonna be okay. This is gonna be fine. I want to run it over here and then. Okay. You hear the stomping? You hear Stompy McStomperstein upstairs? So I want to run it like that. Yeah, I'm gonna run it like that. So there we go. Come on, get on there. These little IPEXs are brutal sometimes. There we go. Okay, that's good to go. That's totally fine. Yeah, once it snapped down, it's holding the thing there. So we're good. Crisis averted. And so now I've got this antenna rocking up to the top here, where I can run it through the top of the canopy. And all right, so drop this down. Take a look at those plugs. Oh yeah, much better. Nice little gap now. How I usually test it is push down on the AIO to compress the grommets and make sure that nothing's touching. What I immediately notice is these battery leads are pushing up against the carbon. That's a quick and easy fix. I'm going to do it with this up and off of here, though. Just need to make a little bit more of an angle with these battery leads. So just come in here. A lot of times I'll just do it with my fingernail because it's kind of round. And just push these back a little bit. There we go. That should be all we needed. All right, let's try that. And actually bending them in that direction. I could be bending them in this direction. Yeah, we're fine. Now we're good. Yep, so the rubber grommets will compress with no problem. Check this side. Yep, that one now compresses. That one now compresses. that one now compresses. So we are now good to go. Get these motors plugged in and make sure that the motor plugs aren't fouling on the carbon fiber. Let's see here. This one looks like it might be, but it's not plugged all the way in yet, so nope, we're good. It just barely clears it. Yeah, so this is fine. All right, so that's looking really good. Might as well just plug the rest of these in, just to make sure there's not one that's a little bit weird. Azalea's back at it. She took a little break. Now she's back at the rocks. These kids nowadays, man. Woo! I mean, I was no better. I absolutely avoided chores in every possible way I could. So I can't really talk much shit. But Azalea's getting paid a good amount of money to do this, so yeah. Is what it is. There we go. That's all set. Let's get another little antenna plugged in here to the tiny little ipex. Okay. Come on, you bastard. Get on there. You thought the UFLs were hard. These IPEXs are ridiculous. All right, so there we go with that. Plug a camera in here, a little BI action. Hopefully this clears with that capacitor. Actually, let's check that right now. Oh, shit. Tell me it's not going to clear. Don't you dare. No. Wait. No, we're good. We're good. It does clear. Oh, shit. This this screw in the front does not clear, though. Well, that's kind of annoying. Alright, I need to switch this front screw out to a shorter one. Balls. Well, I really kind of want to use this canopy. Uriel says, I think I have to start my own podcast with gibberish. I don't have to inflict. What does that mean? Gert Jan X is in the house. He says, when are you going to build a new 2.5 rig from beginning to end? Maybe never. 2.5 is a size that doesn't make a ton of sense other than like with toothpicky kind of stuff. I don't know. I mean, there's so many different kinds of builds. Like, you know, there's like full-blown freestyle school bus style builds. There's like the Cinewhoop-ish builds. There's toothpicks. There's like the toothpicks that are kind of sort of school bus-ish, right? Like, and like every build is, you know, $200 to $300. So it's kind of tough. It gets awful expensive, awful fast. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that. Balls. What am I going to do about the canopy? Should I just use the... I'm going to do this. This is a 4-hole mount. It's only a 2-gram weight penalty. Let's use this. We'll get the RunCam Nano 4. At some point, I'll switch over to this guy. But let's do this for right now to get this thing the rest of the way together. No, that's stupid. Let's switch the damn screw out so I can use the canopy that I want to use. Stop being an idiot. I mean, there is another canopy. No. We're using this one. This is the canopy we're using. Am I going to be able to get that out of there? Oh, for God's sakes, Jim. We're just going to do it. We'll make it work. I got the motors all plugged in and shit. Ugh! No, I'm gonna have to take the AIO out of here. Wait, how is that even gonna hold on to? Well, yeah, I guess the front. once this is down, there's not going to be any room for that. I might be using one of those newer canopies, whether I like it or not, because this canopy is gonna sit down, and then there's not gonna be any room for a nut on top of here. So, all right, I have a feeling that's gonna be a nightmare. I'm gonna bail on this. What I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna stay with purple, but I'm gonna switch the camera over. So this is becoming more and more of a take your 75mm 2S BLV5 and convert it into a toothpick, which is kind of cool. I think that this is going to be better as a toothpick than it is as a tiny whoop, just because it's a little heavier. It's a little on the heavy side as a tiny whoop, especially because of those 0804 motors. So yeah, this could actually be really, really cool. Admittedly, I'm sort of solving a problem that doesn't exist, but hey, welcome to life. Jesus, it's 5:20 already? Fuck. Alright, so RunCam nano, put it right side up. That's important. Come on. Get in there. I guess this will maybe be cool too, because this will make it easier to change. Well, this will make it possible to change the up tilt. With the regular goober canopy, there's no way to increase or decrease the up tilt. The up tilt that it has is pretty good. Like, you probably wouldn't need to change it, but hey, if I want to, now I'll be able to. As always, it's a pain in the ass to get these cameras into the canopies. It just takes a little bit of patience. And when I say a little bit, I mean a lot. There we go. If I look through the side, it makes it much easier. Where'd that other screw go? I guess this is the one. Oh, nope, it's sticking in there. Okay, so a little bit of a change of plans there, but we be aight. The RunCam Nano 3 is Nano 4 is a great camera. Big old lens. Fits really well in this new school goober canopy. 2-gram weight penalty, but this thing is on 2S, so it'll have plenty of power to spare. It'll be fine. That's too much up tilt. That is like all the up tilt in the world. Now that's no up tilt. Somewhere in between. There we go. All right, so yeah, and now this will just drop on. Great. ORT Micro V. Where are you at? Give me a black one. There we go. This is one of the new ones. I kind of don't need to use one of the new ones, but I don't have one of the regular off-the-shelf ones handy. And I just want to get this thing together at this point, so I'll probably change this antenna out in the future, but for right now, let's just do it. Just to get this thing going. So there we go. Man, after the IPEXs, the UFLs are like a joy. The IPEXs are the tiny little UFLs. Oh, you know what? This ain't gonna. So I'm gonna have to feed this antenna through the canopy first. It will not. It will not fit through the hole in the canopy. But that's okay. Just one more plug cycle. One more UFL plug cycle. What could go wrong? Get in there, damn you. There it is. There it is. All right, and then we just need to get the camera plugged in. which is always easier said than done with these tiny little JST 0.8s or whatever the hell they are. But if you just kind of get it started, you can then push it in from the top. Come on, you bastard. There it is. Got it started. And then just push from the top. Come on. Go, go, go. There it is. Sweet. Everything's plugged in. Route a couple of these antennas. I like to route them up through these nice little holes that they give you in these goober canopies. There's one little ELRS antenna. It's kind of getting hung up on the capacitor. Okay, great. That's not going well. All right. So we're going to pop that off and throw it away. And grab another one. Luckily, I've got another one sitting right here. Don't pull on the active elements, folks. They are very fragile. That's one that I'd been using for a while, so it's been it's had its ass handed to it. Come on, man, get in there. Is that on? Come on. Get in. Get on there, Ipex. There we go. All right, let's try this again. Run it up past the capacitor. Up the frame. Actually, you know what? I'm going to prevent that from happening in the future. I'm going to not be a lazy shite. I'm going to get my little thing with tiny little pieces of shrimp wrap, and I'm going to throw one of those on that antenna. So little tiny, this is like the skinniest, there's Stompy again. This is like the skinniest, tiniest shrimp wrap that I've got. All you got to do is cut an itty bitty little piece of it and put it on there. And you're just putting it in between the active element and the non-active element and just hit it with a little bit of heat. And that's going to prevent this little spot that like folds and eventually breaks like what you just saw. So get this shit all out of the way. Get it in just the right spot there. And then just tap it with a lighter. And now that's going to make it way more durable. I didn't do that on that other one, and that's more than likely why it just shit the bed. Yeah, pay attention to that. Kurt Jan says, bigger burger equals bigger stuff. Sorry. What do you fly these days? Only tiny whoop or bigger? When I'm working, I'm usually flying Cinewhoops every once in a while, 5-inch rigs. And then for fun, I fly mostly this tiny whoop stuff. Living in a house with kids and like working from home, the tiny whoop stuff is so nice. Just being able to stay here and handle FPV things, but still get plenty of batteries in is just awesome. So good. And then to be able to, you know, like show up for the kids and help and be like the safety valve when Maggie's doing the unbelievable amount of work surrounding her doctorate, and like something at home happens or something happens with the kids. Like it's just so cool that I get to jump in and be the hero when it matters most. There it is. The 2S newbie drone, Mosquito, basically. The BLV5 Mosquito, I guess. I wouldn't be surprised if they started selling this at some point. This is an excellent little build. 2S. And it should blast. I mean, this should absolutely rail. I had this exact same setup on 1S, and it flew half decent. So on 2S, it should be like the end of the world good. I am excited. There it is. And now I've got 4 little nuts. Where the hell are they? To hold the canopy down. And then I can give you guys a weight. Oh, wait, no, I've got these. Oh, yeah, that's right. I use these excellent little... I mean, these are basically standoffs, just cut really, really, really short. These little guys. That's basically just a little tiny, like, 2mm standoff. And yeah, I can just drop them right on here, and they work great. Hopefully there are 2 more, though, that fall out of this bag. Otherwise, I'm shit out of luck. There's 1 more. I got some green stuff. Get you out of here. Get you out of here. Come on, come on, come on. I was really hoping we'd get to that other build, but builds take time, man. There's 3. Where's the 4th? Don't you dare. I might not have been using a 4th. Nope, there it is. There it is. Got it. Okay. And I might need these little... I might need these clear little donuts. I don't think I will, but... Let's see. Try to get one of these guys on and see how it sits against the canopy. Now we're good. These little fellows are perfect. What's cool about these is, like, just like standoffs, the outside is knurled, so you could just, like, use your finger to tighten them up. I am worried they're gonna back off and fall off. Well, you know, I could just put this little rubber bastard on there. That should prevent it from backing off. That's kind of a cool little setup. Okay. I might lose the little clear guys, but it's worth a shot. Okay. There we go with another one. I believe that Newbie Drone sells these little things. They're like 2mm. I think they call them spacers. But yeah, it's just an M2 standoff that's been cut really, really, really short. And yeah, they're super handy. Throw another little white rubber donut on there. I'll show you. I'll give you guys a better view of what these little clear rubber bastards are in a second. Let me just try to get all 4 of these on real quick, because then we're done, and we'll weigh it, and we'll move on with our lives. I'm actually really excited to fly this thing outside. Okay, got a little bit of compression there. Another little, what the hell? Get off. Another little donut. Hopefully keep this from backing off. And then the last one on the back here. There we go. What's cool about tightening them up from the outside with your fingernail like this is you really can't over tighten them. Like you just don't have like enough grip to really over tighten. I need 1 more of these little clear bastards. I have a whole bunch of them in here. All right, so check this out. Check out what I did. I don't know where I got these from. Might be Flywoo. But yeah, they're tiny little clear rubber donuts. And usually you use them underneath as like a rubber spacer, but in this case, I'm willing to bet that sitting them on top here will prevent these little guys from backing off. Let me show you what I mean. Alright, so there's the little spacer standoff black guy on top there. Alright, try to show you like how it's kind of crosshatched. See how it's crosshatched on the outside there? Like our standoffs, right? And then I put these little clear donuts on top in the theory of it'll prevent it from backing off. Isn't that cool? I'll let you know how it goes. I could also just drop a little bit of whoops. I could also drop a little bit of Loctite in there, but the that's really close to plastic, and if the Loctite gets on the plastic, it'll eat it and be bad. So 2S 2.5-inch toothpick, almost all newbie drone parts. I don't know if that's good or bad. 39 grams. 39.1 grams. I've been outside of the toothpick game for so long that I don't really know if that's all that great. I think that that's lighter than it was in the Tiny Whoop frame, though, isn't it? So that's a good thing. That's a really good thing, because we've gone up significantly in prop size, but we've also gone up in power and efficiency. So yeah, this should blast. 2 300 mAh batteries right in the bottom there through the little TPU loops that you get with the Mosquito frame, and yeah, away we go. I'll be really interested to see how the video does. But yeah, 1102 newbie drone motors. These are the 19,000s. I am gonna have to motor limit these down a bunch, but that's okay. So I am gonna do another toothpick build. I'm not gonna do it here on this live stream. I gotta get ready for a night on the town with Maggie. Our Sunday nights we go to dance class. At this point, it's more just we go to dance rather than to like. It's a beginner class, and we've been going for months, and so we focus on like the not the basics, but like we focus on like technique and stuff like that, because you know it's a lot of the same sort of stuff that we've learned before. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to solder on plugs. Screw you too. So this is the T-Motor F4 13 amp 1S only. It's actually BLHeli32, which is kind of silly. This is going to be a Walksnail toothpick. I do not have an extra Walksnail VTX at the moment, so I need to get off my ass and get that sent in for repair, because like I have 2 Walksnail VTXs that are that are in need of repair. So that's going to end up getting this. So this is going to be a 1S Walksnail 1003 powered Tiny Whoop, which should be wild. It could be really cool. It could be super underpowered. It'll be ultra quiet, so I'll be able to fly it absolutely anywhere. I'm hoping that these 1003 motors really come alive. I feel like they have the potential to make a bunch of power. It's just we're gonna have to give them a battery that's like 550, 650, 750 mAh. Otherwise, they're just gonna sag like crazy and or kill the battery quick. So yeah, this will be interesting. These are 22,000 kV. Let me see. Yeah, 22,000 kV. And so with like a 3-inch prop or a 2.5-inch prop, they should be pretty good. We'll see. I'm very curious what this will be like. But yeah, this is going to be the next toothpick that gets built here. This T-Motor AIO I've had for a while. I'll probably use these grommets. These should be good. How does this sit up against this frame? Once this has motor plugs on it, how's this gonna sit? So USB, the USB is gonna be a challenge. Maybe I run this thing up. Maybe I run it with the USB up, but then I really wanted to use it with this canopy, and I don't know if this canopy is going to clear that USB. It looks like it does. This might not be the AIO for this. I think this is more of a tiny whoop AIO. Oh, do we do a 2-inch build with this? 1002, 22,000. Do we do a 1S 2-inch ducted build with this? Because this is an AIO that has the USB facing down, and when you match that up with a tiny whoop AIO, tiny whoop frame like this, you got to be careful, because what if you can't plug the USB in? Yeah, see, this is not a frame that I'm going to be able to plug. I didn't think about this. This is why we theory craft these builds before we dive in. It won't go that way. It won't go. Nope. Can't access the USB this way. Okay, so this AIO is not meant for this. This needs a toothpick style AIO. So this needs to go either in a frame like this where it's got the cutout for it, right? So I could put this into here. Right, so it sits there, and then the USB has room to move. Yeah, this is going to go into a different frame. I didn't think all the way through that. So we could do 2S. We could do 1S Walksnail 2-inch with this. This is tough. This is an AIO that does not have a VTX or a receiver built in. So I have to run an external receiver, which is going to add weight, and an external VTX, which is going to add weight. But it's only 1S. I can't run this beyond 1S. And so... What is the right build for this AIO? I've had this AIO for a long ass time. I need to get into a build. What is the right build for this AIO? It's 13 amps, which is great. I feel like this might... Man, I wish it was 2S. GertGenX says, still worth flying analog these days. Looks like the Fat Shark's getting cheaper and easier to get a used one. Yeah, analog is still king for tiny whoops inside the house, like shredding. Shit, man. I was really excited to use this AIO. I just didn't think all the way through which frame it would be on. The fact that it wouldn't work in that frame. It would work in that mosquito frame. I kind of wish that I'd put this into the mosquito frame. Well, what I could do is put this in that mosquito frame, and then I could pull the 2S guts out of this and put it into this tiny little 1.6 inch. Maybe, depending on the canopy. If I ran a more centralized canopy like this one, I might be able to run 2-inch props on this little shitbird, on this little tiny mosquito. This thing set up as it is, it just doesn't get flown. And so I want to do something with this so that I can actually start flying it. And so maybe that's it. Maybe this goes to 2S, 2-inch props. Drop this into it. That's not a whole lot of work. Yeah. Swap the canopy out. Swap over to this canopy. And then it should clear. I've tried 2-inch props with this canopy, but they hit right here. See how like the camera is pushed forward a little bit? This canopy, I don't know where I got this. See how much more central the camera is in this guy, right? So I'm willing to bet that this will clear 2-inch props because it's more, you know what I mean, in the middle. I think that's going to be what I do. I think that kind of has to be what I do. And then this will be an ultra small, lightweight 2-inch 2S rig, which should blast. And then this guy will be this 1S Walksnail 2.5 inch. This I like this because it's a 2.5 inch build. But I will fly this first. I'll put this up in the air, rip this around, see how it is, and then I think I can't think of anything else to do with this T-motor AIO because it's 1S. You know what I mean? The fact that it's 1S is like is makes it really tough to kind of figure out. It's 1S and it needs an external receiver and a VTX. Greenhorn says BI canopy and you can put 40mm props. Yeah, the old school BI canopy, right? The old school BI canopy does not have the camera push so far forward. But I would need to swap this front screw out. Regardless, I'm going to fly this because this is together and all I have to do is the Betaflight setup on it. This will be for another day that we figure out this 13 amp, but it's definitely going to hit paired with these motors, and I do want to use these motors because they're awesome. So let me do this. I'm actually going to dump this bag all the way out, and then this guy goes in here to remind me to combine it with this AIO. Here's the motors, and I'm going to probably use that canopy, and the 2S setup is going to come off there. Yeah. That'll be good. That should be good. That might be good. It's going to need an EP2. Throw this in here. And that should be it. Cool. There you go, friends. Diving back into toothpick life. Toothpick life is good life, from what I'm told. I don't know what I'm going to do with this frame now. This is like the old school toothpick frame. This is like the version 1 FPV cycle toothpick frame that apparently now I'm not using. But it needs to get mated up to a toothpick style AIO, which I do have one over here. So yeah. All right. Yeah, toothpick life needs to continue here. This will be good. I'll be able to use those 2S batteries. Yeah. I got something cooking. Subscribe to the channel for more. Hold on. Let me fly something real quick. I promised you I'd fly. I don't want to break my promise. We're gonna bind and fly a couple of these little RC drift car chasing rigs. Let's do all three. What the hell? I've got 3 batteries sitting right here. Let's put a battery through all 3. These 3 have different cameras, different props, different motors. When I was flying there a lot, there's the other little rubber guy that I couldn't find. When I was flying there a lot, I was really trying to like refine and figure out the perfect setup. They have changed locations, and the new RC drift track is supposedly going to be insanely cool. But at the moment, I have nowhere to chase drift cars. Let's see which one of these I can use binding phrases on. I'm all about binding phrases now, by the way. I'm a changed man. So this is one of the newer, this is the lightest RC Drift car chasing rig. It's got a RunCam Nano 3, which is the main reason that it's the lightest. Arakerg says, any thoughts on the new Kayou Mini frame, 2.5 inch freestyle sub 100 grams? I have not heard of it, but it sounds like one of these kind of toothpick, kind of school bus style frames, which I'm super interested in, but I just haven't quite gotten there yet. Soon I will go down that road. Binding phrase, save and reboot. done. I will admit, that is pretty nice. That is slick. No DVR needed. Let's just cruise. And I'm going to try really hard, like I said earlier in the stream, to just relax and just cruise around. These are cinematic analog rigs for chasing little RC drift cars, not for flying like my pants are on fire. So just relax, calm down, and just cruise around and enjoy the majesty of flight. You lunatic, you. This is a 2G4 AIO with 0702 28,500 kV motors. The HQ ultralight props, the old ones, not the new, less pitchy ones. Little micro V, and that's about it. RunCam Nano 3 up front in the mount designed for us by the one and only Timmons. Let's see how it be. Just cruising, just relaxing. Zero up tilt, just relaxing. Where's my OSD? Why don't I have OSD? Oh no. Oh no, why is motor 4 not? No, no! What? Why? What is your deal? That's looking like the ESC is blown. Come on now. Whoa, why is that AIO so hot? Jesus Christ. Are you hanging up on something? What are you doing? There it goes. Oh boy. He ain't happy though. Motor 4 is not spinning up properly. Now it's not spinning up at all. Whoa! Jesus, that scared the shit out of me. What is it doing? Now it's all the way dead. Now it won't spin at all. Now it's fine. Now, nope. Oh my god. Fucking goggles are beeping. Go kill yourself, goggles! Okay. Well, I am not having luck lately, man. I am having a lot of shit just, like, not work for no reason. I guess I had a good run of stuff working. I don't know. So the first way to troubleshoot this would be to swap this and another motor. But it's awful late, and I've been streaming for a long time, and I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do, though, is put it into beta flight, go to the motors tab, and just see what happens real quick here. So it's motor 4 that's being a jerk. What's all this air? Why do I have so much air in here? What I want to try to isolate is if it's the ESC, if it's the motor, if it's a slipped motor shaft. Why is there so much D-shot air? CPU load is 61%? What the hell? I hate to go down to 2K. If I have to, I will. Yeah, look at all that air. That's not good. Wow, it's super laggy. All right, hold on. Let's see how much of that air goes away if I go down to 2K. Come on. We got beeps. We got boops. Most of the air went away, but there's still some. That's weird. Oh, motor 4 is not doing anything now. It's just barely twitching. Man, this thing is acting weird. There's like tons of delay. Wow, look at that delay. See that? Up. Okay. That's very weird. Let's see what version of Blue Jay it's on. Maybe it's not even on Blue Jay. That could be the problem. Turn my transmitter off. Okay. It's on Blue Jay 0.16, 48K. Weird, man. Let's try this. Let's try the most recent version, 0.21. 48 OH5 flash. Let's see if this might help. I would love it if this helped. This is weird, man. I've not had this specific strange set of issues with 2G4 before. I'm a little bit baffled, if I'm honest here. This is strange. But I don't really know what else to do. So weird. That was like 3% error. BMF Shade just finished a Cockroach AF with 702 32,500s, 18.7 grams. What's a Cockroach AF? 18 point something grams is good though. That's where you want to be. That or below. You don't want to be above 18 point something grams, in my opinion. Why is it? Oh, the transmitter's still on. Why didn't the transmitter shut off? There we go. Now it'll go faster. This will be interesting. I usually Blue Jay 0.16 is the jam, but oh, light AF. Got it. Yeah, good call. Come on. Go. Go. I'm going to turn up the startup power a little bit. That might help. All right, newest Blue Jay is now on here. Almost. Come on. There it is. Okay. We're going to set the motor timing to medium. We're going to kick up the startup power a bunch. Well, no, they say not to on this new version, so we're just going to move it up a little bit. 1120 and 1050. 2 minutes. That's good. That's good. All right, great. Right settings. And cool. Disconnect. Let's get it into beta flight and see if anything is better. I'm actually going to go back up to 4K because yeah, it runs better. And connect. CPU load is a little bit lower. It's 57 instead of 61. That's kind of nice. Here's the test, though. Wow, and the error is gone. Oh, but it still doesn't work. And there's still this massive amount of delay in here. Motor 4 is still blown up, though. Either channel 4 or motor 4. I'm not even getting twitching at this point. Like, there's nothing there. It's as if it's not plugged in. So it could be a wiring issue. I would love that. That's easy to fix. Let me put my finger on the motor bell and I'll see if I can feel. Oh yeah, I can feel it. It's trying. The motor spins freely. So all of that leads me to believe that it's an ESC issue. Try it again. Nope. Nothing. No, it's man, this might be a dead 2G4. That's super sad. Well, that sucks. But I will swap 2 of the motors and see if the problem chases or if it stays. And that's the best way to isolate if it's motor or ESC related. So we're not flying that one. All I wanted to do was just fly real quick. Is it like, what? Why? Why is this real life? Why is FPV like this so often? Speaking of, okay. Oh my god. Please, something work. Just anything. Just something work, please. Absolutely anything. Just give me something. Please. Oh, this is one of the ones that I can't use. Oh, it's only on 4.4. Oh my god. Let's see if I can plug and unplug 3 times to get it into bind mode. 1, 2, 3. Please. Please be in bind mode. Oh, Christ. This might be on 2.5. Nope, nope, nope. We're good. Ah, yes. All right. Let's try this again, man. This is now a Mobula 6 2024 transplanted into a Cockroach V3 frame with the Batwing mount up front, FXT camera, and these are 0702 36,000 kV motors. The Tiny Whoop Fireflies. I was going to say, I swear to God, if we have no video, I'm going to light the whole world on fire. All right, cool. We're going to fly something. Fly your 6 batteries today, my friends. Do it. Wow, what was that about? Oh, man, this thing is... Why is it flying like ass? There's a specific RPM that it... Oh, God, what was that? Why, what is happening? Why is everything that I have flying so fucking awful all of a sudden? Like, the last couple weeks have been just gross. Like, every single thing is blown up. See it? Look at this weird yaw shit going on. I'll try to fly around it. God damn it. Of course I want to go backwards through a spot that's damn near impossible to go backwards through. Oh god. Man, 0 up tilt is different. Oh my god, are you kidding me? Shut up, phone. Shut up! Oh my god, it's the fucking calendar. It's some fucking calendar appointment. I hate everything. Okay, great. That does me no good. That's a calendar appointment from yesterday at 2 o'clock. What the hell? Oh my god. Why is the video so bad? Oh boy. Oh god. Is this... What is happening? It's not changing. The VTX table is wrong. Oh my god. This is a nightmare. Is it really bad for you guys? No, it's fine for you guys. Why is it so bad in my goggles? Wow, this is like barely flyable for me. Is it? No, it's just... It's... This weird yaw twitch all over the place too. What is happening with this? 0 up tilt makes it feel horrendous. I guess the VTX table is wrong. Look how cool this carpet looks when I do orbits around it. I never know... What the fuck? What is happening? Where am I? Oh my god. Oh my god. Help me! I'm not having... Thank you! She coming down? She's coming down. Yes! Oh no, she's going away. Why does it... What is with the video? Why is the video such a mess? Could just... Oh, for fuck's sake. I give up. Thanks for coming, friends. I give up. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. This is me. This is self-care right here. This is self-care because I'm about to smash everything in sight. I love you. Goodbye. See you tomorrow night, 10 Eastern.